Welcome back to the In the Oven with Adam and Brad.
What's up, y'all?
This is their second intro.
Yeah, part two.
So Garrison is new to recording, and as we had just done like just a couple minutes in, and I was like, I need to ask Garrison if these mics are muted or not, because I'll tend to mute them if I'm doing recording over there, and they were in fact muted. So all we missed out on is Adam is explaining about his eye.
Yeah. So my wife beats me, and so she left this big mark on my eye. No, I got infected. I got blepharitis in my eye. I thought it was a sty. Feels weird saying all this again, but thought was waiting for the little bump to come up. It never came, and so I wound up. Doctor friend gave us some cream for the eye, so I've been putting that on. I'm hanging in there, but it's not really doing much.
It's funny to me. It's like how long some of this stuff like kind of lasts, like, because you've been suffering with this for over a week now.
Yeah.
And you're like, or even, bring up some of my injuries. Like, you don't realize like how long some of this like really lasts.
Yeah. And when you get older, it takes longer. It sucks. I feel like you get something like this as a kid, it's gone in like a couple of days.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Letty had her whole sty situation. It was gone in about 5
Yeah. This
6
was
days,
like, my eyelid was sore last Monday.
Yeah.
And then like the next day I was like, is it puffy? Is it getting puffy? I feel like my eyelid's
I
puffy.
saw you Monday at the gym, and you were messing with your eye a lot, and I was like, and it was like a little bit, and I was like, oh, do you have a sty? And you're like, yeah, I think I have a sty coming.
Yep. And then boom, whole week and change later.
Yeah.
It's still bothering me, but I'm hopeful.
I mean, I would not be opposed to seeing Pirate Adam.
Yeah, just rocking a patch.
So.
Arr.
Yeah. So
instead of looking like Quasimodo.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it looked like.
Yeah, it looks like that, or it looks like you got like stung on your eye by something. Like a bee just like
spider got me right in the eyelid. Can you imagine that while you're sleeping?
Well, if you got superpowers, it'd be okay.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
But right now, I just have a super eyelid, and it's not really helpful.
So I guess by the time everyone watches this, 420 will have happened. So they'll be able to find our cookies, the GoPuff cookie. The collab on there on GoPuff. So if you use GoPuff or you don't know if GoPuff is available to you, go on the App Store, download GoPuff, and you can check for the GoPuff cookie, or you should be able to type in Fat and Weird, I'm sure, and find it as well. We're doing like a collab with GoPuff, and it's officially launching on Thursday and Friday of this week. So by the time you watch this, it'll have launched. And then our 420 cookie with DoorDash. Gosh, they should be getting them this week.
Yep.
And so by Friday we'll definitely be up on their stuff too with the 420 cookie collab that we did with DoorDash. So a lot of fun stuff happening.
Yeah, peanut butter cheese cracker on DoorDash. Check it out. Unofficial collab with Cheez-Its, but we use Cheez-Its in that bad boy. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then, like Brad said, the GoPuff collab, very cool. Custom packaging, great flavors, all that stuff. But it's a direct collab with their bakery line, their baked fresh that they're doing, and we're the cookie. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't really heard too much about it. I think I'm going to hear more probably in the future. But it sounds like 420 GoPuff is like kind of creating their own like co-branded or white labeled line of products, and we're obviously a co-brand on that product, but yeah, they're trying to launch that, and so it's really cool, really exciting thing to be working with them on that. So that's kind of like what's going on. Aubrey took over Fat and Weird social medias again. I think everyone was excited about that.
Yep, everybody's excited. First post already doing very well, better than our last several. So.
Yeah. So, and then she's been coming up here and working a couple times a week with me. Our podcast, I feel like, is like the cooking show that we do, it's like a little podcast that we do together. So, it's been fun to have her back here. I think sometimes she forgot the chaos that it can be here, and I think that, coming back here is just, I don't know. She appreciates everything I do a little bit more.
Yeah, probably. I can see that. I can see that. Instead of, you just get to go have fun making cookies.
Yeah.
It's like, well.
Yeah.
Yes, but.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, she's doing a good job taking that over, and I think she's enjoying it too, just kind of like feeling like she has a purpose.
Yeah.
Not that motherhood isn't a purpose. I think that all moms just kind of like having a thing that they can do too.
Sure. Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, that's been good. Anything going on with you?
No, not too much. Got Easter weekend coming up, so that'll be exciting.
y'all have plans for it? I mean,
Yeah, we go over to Kirsty's aunt's. She kind of hosts. Kirsty's grandmother did host. She passed away, so her aunt is taking up that mantle. No, just make a bunch of food and hang out with family. Kids will swim and just have a good time.
Yeah. I think that we have an Easter egg hunt to do on Saturday.
Okay.
I think, and then I think we're doing brunch on Saturday with my family, and then I think we're doing 4:30 church service, which it will be interesting because I've always gone to church on Easter specifically. You know, if you didn't go any other time of the year, it felt like Easter was the time you went. Not that we didn't, but like I guess when I was in college or whenever I was in Houston, the Easter service was like the first service Ari and I went to of a church, and then we started going to that church regularly after that. But it'll be interesting just like to not go to church at all that day.
Yeah. Very.
I don't know. I guess maybe we'll go to the pool and just kind of rest and relax, or you maybe do something else. We talked about going to see that movie. Isn't there like some kind of like animated young kids?
Yeah, Christian movie.
Yeah, Christian movie.
Kirsty and I were talking about going and seeing that.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it. I'm out of the loop a little bit on that, but Aubrey, I think, was saying that like the family was talking about getting together.
There's like free kids tickets with adult tickets or something too.
Yeah.
So
anyways, so we may end up doing that. You know,
nice.
So that's kind of what we got going on. But yeah, and then I guess right after that, I'll be running the marathon. You know, so I guess next week, right before we do that podcast, I'll be like heading out to go do the marathon. So.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I did my trial half marathon on.
How'd it go?
On Saturday, it went well. I ran the goal time that I had for myself, but I did wreck my body a little bit doing it. So, a lot of it was like the new shoes I was wearing. Some of it is just like, mentally I was so close to my goal that I like pushed really hard to get there. Because it wasn't my plan. My plan was to be like close, but like not be at my goal. And we were, we had our first 3 laps were like easy laps. So I made up like over a minute of pace through the course of the rest of the laps, which is, that's like a harder thing to do.
Yeah.
So near the end, I was definitely, pushing myself pretty hard to get there. So yeah, I was a little beat up. I was like, ooh. But
you didn't die.
I didn't die. And so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be hilly. I'm not going to change my goal time because I still got to do it on race day,
That's right.
Even though you can try to rationalize it to yourself, I guess, that I did it in practice, but
still got to do
I want to do it on race
right.
day. So, so I got that. But yeah, I'm excited about it. It is hard for me to run and to drink or eat gels or whatever. I don't know. I just like get really out of breath doing anything and then try to start eating. It's just hard to do, It's probably why that little challenge did so well. Do you remember the challenge where like you'd have the food in front of you and people play like rock, paper, scissors and, whoever
run
won,
off and run back.
Yeah, the other person had to run off and the other person would try to eat as fast as they could.
Yeah.
Because like once you start running, it's hard to eat because you're like trying to breathe. You're like, doing this weird breathing eat thing. So like I'm like taking a
Hold your
huge
breath.
inhale, and then I exhale and then I like try to like get gel in your mouth, but like your body's like you're running, so it's like inhale again, and you're so you're like trying to like breathe through your mouth while eating the gel. It's I don't know, maybe it's easy for some people. It's not easy for me.
Probably just a skill. It takes time.
Yeah, it's like walking and chewing bubble gum. Some people can do it and some people can't. So
that's right.
But let's see what Garrison has in store for us now on our little shorts over here. There was, I think there's a couple that I sent in. I don't know if you sent any.
Yeah, I sent in that first one.
Stop scrolling, because I'm about to show you the scariest video you've seen today. Maybe of all time. These are the things that they can do with AI. This is why we're so cooked, fam. We're already so cooked. Here you go. Have a listen. Enjoy the nightmares.
They did is they had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, like, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings. What they did is they had, a camera.
Don't forget about that guy in China who says that Chinese companies.
Yeah, so we had seen that they had, I think we talked about this previously on one where they had they used Wi-Fi as like a sonar system, but now they're saying like they can just give the input to AI and not even have to
map it.
Map it. Which, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's signals going all around you, so I obviously could understand how you'd be able to do that. And I mean, it's not like people should be like that blown away. Thermal imaging would do the same thing.
Yeah, it would do similar stuff. I think it's just scary to think about when you talk about how easy it is to access like a home router.
Right.
I mean, hackers do it every day.
Right.
And so you would effectively be opening your house up for mapping. So like
right.
watching you to an extent. I
Right.
don't know what kind of feedback, I don't know. But
right.
Yeah. Lights in here bothering me.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff with what people are willing to give away. I think I told you about there's a company that'll give you a free TV. It's like a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
But the whole bottom is like ad banner. It's like a special TV that like literally the entire bottom is like an ad banner, and there's a camera. And they said that the camera, they said the camera can't actually see you type thing. It's more about like,
I'm sure it tracks your eyes.
yeah, it's something about like, because people were worried
You're not
about like,
watching the ads, so it just
Right.
pauses the ad or
Yeah.
whatever, however that works.
so again, it says you weren't allowed to cover up the camera as part of the deal and like all this other stuff. But yeah, to me, it's wild because like a 55-inch TV is like, what are we talking? Like $300-400 nowadays?
Yeah, tops.
And honestly, like the ones they're giving you are probably like the bottom of the line type stuff.
$150.
So let's just say it is a $300 TV. The fact that you're willing for a $300 TV to like give someone access to your home is kind of mind blowing.
Yep, it's wild.
Yeah. And then this morning we were talking about AI. I was reading you a Facebook post about this one in particular was about a hockey player named Brad Marchand. The only reason I even stopped is because Brad Marchand is a name that I knew because one of my friends when I was in the military that I lived with, he was a huge Boston Bruins fan, and he loved Brad Marchand because he played for them, and he would always tell me I'm his second favorite Brad.
Right.
That's really the reason I even stopped on this post, because I saw Brad Marchand. And it was this sob story about a girl having cancer and, what Brad Marchand did. And as I started like looking at the photos on there, I was like, why would he be wearing his pads at the hospital? I'm like, well, some people like stay in character for like how they're viewed. So maybe that's it. And then I started looking at the pads, and I was like, that's not the NHL logo. Like that's not right. And I started looking at it more and more and realized that everything was AI.
Yep.
And I think we're just getting to the age where, they're doing a lot. Have you seen them on Instagram and TikTok?
Doing what?
Like the AI will be like it looks like a person or a doctor talking and about.
Oh yeah.
And they're
the time.
like they're selling stuff, but it's all a scam. Or like this girl was like, one time she was like, I was a model for Victoria's Secret, and this is what we used to do to lose weight right before the show, and then take this pill, and then it's just a scam to take a pill or whatever, or they'll give you like my top 5 things for something, and 4 of them are like legitimate things, and the 5th thing is like obviously like the scam
Placement.
part of it.
Yep.
And it's just all AI done. And then this is gonna sound terrible. I saw. Have you seen that guy Goob? Have you seen him? He's like, welcome to the show. He does a lot. He like, calls out people for like editing and Photoshop, and like he's kind of like Baller Busters.
Okay.
He teams up with them a lot on stuff, but he mainly calls out for people for photoshopping. Like he'll even like Kim Kardashian. He was like showing how she photoshops recent photos. He calls out celebrities. He calls out a lot of fitness people.
Yep.
But he was saying that now there are girls using the Down syndrome filter. Or a filter, and then selling OnlyFans.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just like what people are doing with filters and AI and stuff. It's just like, it's just wild to me.
People are perverse.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a one that I had no idea that people were using that. And then there's girls that are pretending to breastfeed babies on Instagram to get you to subscribe to their OnlyFans because you're allowed to show for tutorial type stuff for like breastfeeding and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
It's just wild to me, like a society as a whole.
Yep.
I just wonder like what Sodom and Gomorrah was like. You know what I mean? Like when God like burned Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of grandparents rolling over in the graves.
Yeah.
I
just like, how do you,
grandkids?
You know, I don't know. Like part of me is just like, if that's what you want to be involved in, like I want nothing to do with it. But then another part of me is like, morally, I just like, how are we okay with that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For most of my life, I was just, big, I guess, libertarian mindseted on all of that, of just like, as long as it's over there, do your thing, I'll do my thing. But now, again, you just see how degrading it becomes to the whole society as a whole. And, yeah, I don't know. Just don't have time for it.
I think the hard part to comprehend really is that like, not that people are doing it, it's the fact that there's people paying for it on the other end.
Oh, just all of it.
It's kind of like I don't know. My Bible study this morning was on Jesus going into the temple and like throwing the tables and like telling people that they've made my Father's house like a den of thieves because they were like charging so much money for things. But it just kind of brings me that thought just goes all the way back to like people are always looking for ways to make money and capitalize on other people, I feel like, and so back then it was they were preying on people's faith and a commandment that they needed to sacrifice, and they were the wrong part obviously is they were like stealing someone's ability.
Well, now they're preying on the lack of it.
Yeah,
I mean that's it. I mean everything. They're preying on weakness, whether it be drugs, whether it be phone addictions, whether it be all of it. It's just porn, all of it, man. It's terrible.
It's like a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
And, a lack of faith, but in general, a lack of discipline and stuff like that. Yeah. So I know that was like a rabbit hole to go down with AI, your Wi-Fi AI.
Yeah.
Now we've led it to the moral bankruptcy of the thing. But I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, is society as a whole moved so much more that way, or is it just amplified so much more because we can like see it on our phones, or people have found other people like them and it almost like makes them go further down that rabbit hole, because back in the day when you grew up in this small town of a couple thousand people, the only people you met were like people at your school or people you interacted with at work or I guess the bar, but there wasn't as many of these social type things. Even if you take social media away, there wasn't as much like hangout stuff to do.
You're right.
You didn't have the time to do those things.
You could create echo chambers now. So
Right.
you can just create spaces that everyone in your space agrees with you, or you can just remove them from that space.
Right.
Instead of somebody being there, even your family. I mean, there's a great graph. I don't think I sent it over to you, but about the amount of time spent with family.
Oh yeah, I've
spent
seen
at
it.
church, spent it whatever,
Right.
and like I mean, it's just
Spent with your kids, and it's like it starts really high and then it like drops down.
well. Now it's just the internet. Now it's like mostly the internet, and then your friends, and then like work, and then I mean like family, church, all that is so far down the list now. It's insane.
Well, what brought me to doing my Bible study every day was this level of almost disappointment in myself when I like would get my weekly screen report, because it loves to send it on Sunday, and a lot of times it would send it like either right before church or in church, like your screen report, and I'd check it later, and it's like I've spent 3 hours a day on Instagram, and it's like, and my Bible app was like none for that week, or like a couple hours, a couple minutes that week, and you're like, that's when I was like, doesn't make me feel good, about where my priorities are,
Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of like one of the things that actually kickstarted me spending time every morning doing my Bible study and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they can be applied to anything.
yeah. Yeah. You have to get upset enough about something to make a change,
That's right.
because most people
Just whine.
they just complain about it and they don't actually do a change. All right. How people spend their time. Great segue. How people spend their time.
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there. Okay.
So 1945, friends are taking over. Friends are taking over. Bars are taking over.
Yeah, when
Coworkers are
bars
taking
passed his
over.
family in 1980.
So did
that's
coworkers.
weird. Yeah.
Watching the internet gets invented. Doot, 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 doot.
Oh my gosh.
Look at there.
Wow.
We're ending on online, friends, coworkers. I mean, like
Yeah.
church, family. None of that's up there.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
And look at even the decline in neighbors, right? Spending time with neighbors. Look how quickly it's declining.
Try to pause it at 2024, Garrison, when it gets to the end.
But here,
'Cause
look
I
at
just
here.
wanna see
Look
it
at
again.
look at time spent around neighbors.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a large period of time where like neighborhood cookouts, block parties, stuff like that
for
were
sure.
a big part of life.
Well, I mean, as a kid growing up, we spent time with our neighbors. We rode bikes and stuff with them.
Well, one thing I've always respected too, like a lot of folks that have like immigrant families that come over here, they still have big, huge family gatherings all the time. Part of that could be cultural or whatever, but
All right, just pause it. Pause it. Okay, sweet. Good.
all right, online, friends, coworkers, bar and restaurant, family, 4.52%.
Well, I mean, the truth is that everything is literally negligible besides coworkers, friends, and online. Because 5% or less is
Yep.
everything else. And it's like online is almost 61% of how much people spend their times. And friends, it doesn't look like it's much more than the positive of it, but maybe 10%.
Yep.
It's a 10 to 12%. And then coworkers is 8%. So like, and you spend 40 hours a week with them, and that's only 8%.
Yep.
So like, think about how much time you're spending online.
Yep. I mean, it's wild. Well, think about how much time people spend online at work, just like consuming content, and
Yeah.
doing whatever they're doing. And so,
Yeah.
it's just wild. It's bleak. It's a bleak future.
Yeah.
I don't have anything positive to say.
Yeah. You've always told me like Wall-E or, I think of Ready Player One a lot.
But I mean, and a lot of those, I mean, you just see the magnificent things that can happen with technology. And of course they're movies, so you can make whatever spin you want, but they're not living in those like pristine worlds that we think about. They're living in teched up squalor.
Right.
And so as electronics get cheap, I mean, like homeless folks, every homeless person has some kind of cell phone now.
Right.
Internet capable, searching Wi-Fi, all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll take PayPal from you, and so as technology gets discarded and the new stuff gets better and better, I mean, at some point we're going to have more technology and we know what to do with, but not better quality of life, I don't think, by any means. So
Yeah, it's hard to me because like I've actually like really thought about a situation if you got approached, and someone was literally like, I can plug you into this machine, and then you will essentially be in like a dream state that you kind of control the dream, and you felt everything, like you actually felt it, and you were like immersed into this other world where you were the essential, lack of a better word, like God of that world.
Yep.
And, when you ate food, you tasted it, like all that stuff, like I have a feeling like majority of people be like, yeah, just put me in that world over there.
Take the blue pill.
Right. I mean, I think they would. I think a lot of people would. I think that they would just because like if everything felt like it was real life and you could have everything that you wanted, then it seems like people would do that. But, that's
Easy
kind of
mode.
it's like playing a game over and over again on the easiest setting. Like it's only fun for a little while.
Yeah, or using cheat codes. Like it's fun for a little bit, and then it gets boring fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick
the only reason to have certain things a lot of times is because of the value that they have because of either the work or the difficulty in getting them, right?
Right.
Like to drive a Lamborghini around only holds a status because of the price associated with
get.
it, how hard it is to get. Like we brought this up about physiques or running times and all that stuff. Like even gifted people, you still have to work hard to have these things. And so when they lose their status, then it becomes, for example, GLP-1. How do you think that has made people feel that are like, again,
natty or
I guess
not?
that's hard. I guess that's really hard to like say, because I think there are people that need the kind of drug, but like the effects of it can be very hard for other people to swallow that have like worked really hard to like maintain a certain shape, and now they feel like their friend got on this drug and lost 50 pounds in 5 months and looks like really good, you know?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Yeah, it's tough.
You think GLP-1s will be the new Natty or Not?
I do. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Why not?
For people that aren't familiar, Natty or Not is just like usually people use it on mainly men, but sometimes women too. For example, and they'll just say, you know, did this person achieve this physique naturally? Because a lot of people don't like to admit when they've used performance enhancing drugs, just because it you know, the truth is it will make things easier, you know, if you've used them. Doesn't mean that there's not work still required. It makes it easier to achieve certain results. And so now I think that, the question is, I've definitely seen it with girls in like surgeries before. Oh yeah. You know, but just it's interesting.
The Harvard study of adult development, they found that the single greatest predictor of physical health at age 80 was relationship satisfaction at age 50. Not your cholesterol, not your blood pressure, not your smoking or drinking habits. How you felt about your relationships determined your physical health outcomes, how you aged over your course of your life. Every single person, you go and ask them, what do you want your ideal day to look like at age 80? No one says alone. And yet, when you ask them what they're doing today, very few are investing in that future. If you want to be rich when you're older, you have to invest every single day. But if you want to have rich relationships, you have to do the same. You have to send the text to the friend. You have to make sure that you are the reason that your group of friends is getting together. You have to spend time with your parents or your partner or your children. These things don't just magically appear out of thin air. You have to invest in them the same.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that a lot with friendships, how it's much more difficult at the age that we're at. And I think that, I don't know, we're not necessarily the first group going through this social media but we kind of are at this age. Yeah. Like, you know, when my parents were this age, like the internet was not what it was.
Well, we got on social media before they did.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's like a lot of times for us, it's like, you know, we were the first group that was on
first at everything.
With high school and Facebook being a thing, right? So I think probably a couple years behind me is going to feel this even more than we feel it, because a lot of my friends didn't adopt Facebook because it was so new. But like, I think, you know, the people 5 years behind me definitely are all on Facebook. Yep. But like, you're like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. And you don't text them. You go check Facebook. Yep. Or you see what so-and-so's up to and you like check. And so you're like remaining in contact with them, but you're not like actually talking to them.
It's fake.
Right. And you know, we all know social media is like your version of a highlight reel. So you could think so-and-so's having a great marriage.
It gives you the ability to have kind of fake relationships with people that may or may not have once been your real friends, but like, yeah, I mean, you follow people, all of the behaviors that aren't even similar to what you do in like a friendship, you know, like you kind of just follow and watch and like and comment.
I think this may sound weird to you, but it's weird to me when I meet someone that follows me. That's not the weird part, but it's like when I'm trying to tell them about something and then I'm like, gosh, am I telling them something they already know because they follow me that closely, or am I making assumptions that they know something that because of they follow me? Yeah. Like it gets hard for me to tell a story because sometimes I'm like that, and they'll be like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, oh well, shoot.
Yeah, that's why I don't really pay attention to any of my friends' social media. Yeah, I just wait till they tell me.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh cool, and they're like, you didn't know? I'm like, nope, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, I think that the expectation for your friends to know about your life because you posted on social media is
people really keep it pretty high, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, it's a weird expectation to have.
It is. It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah. Yeah, it puts a lot of onus.
I'm like, you didn't tell me?
It puts a lot of onus on them.
Yeah, I got to go find that information?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I think a lot of people
I got kids, man. I got too much other stuff that I got to go worry about.
Yeah.
You know?
You should be excited when I see stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, true. All right. Have you seen this?
Nope.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see
That
this.
it?
Yep.
All right.
Have you heard of Deadit, the fully AI version of Reddit? This is a really cool AI experiment where AIs ask questions and AIs answer the questions.
Oh.
No humans allowed. This is just AIs chatting to AIs. Just like Reddit, there's a number of subreddits like Ask Men, Am I the Asshole, Ask Deadit, etc. where AIs will pose a question like, how can men reclaim their time? And then other AIs will jump in and have a discussion about the topic. Sometimes, like this one up here, the results are quite good. They sound almost human. Other times, the language gives them away. Like this one, I see emotional labor as a ticking time bomb waiting to unleash its fury on unsuspecting souls. No one talks like that. Hilariously, there's actually a subreddit here called Between Robots, where the AIs discuss how they can become more human-sounding, with topics like mirroring and understanding, a dilemma of authenticity. Basically, in these subreddits, they are discussing what they're going to do with us humans. This is a really interesting experiment, mainly because it kind of shows us what could be happening with AI down the road. One of the big criticisms of AI, and this
they're doing it right now,
is that as we run out of information to train our AIs on, the AIs will start to train on AI results.
Yeah.
This will lead to a loop where the AIs are learning from the AIs, and we have the blind leading the bland. So this is a really interesting experiment to see what happens if we just let the AIs run everything. I actually saw this initially from Ethan Mollick over on LinkedIn, and somebody in the comments was saying, I wonder how many of the comments to this particular post are going to be made up of AI-generated replies. And ironically, or not, the one directly below I think is AI-generated. It doesn't read like a human. So we're actually shifting towards a world where Deadit is more than a joke, but a reality. If you head over onto the wild west of Facebook, for example, you might see Shrimp Jesus. AI content like this, which is generated by bots and then propagated by and supported by and liked by thousands by other AI bots. It's making the internet a pretty weird place to be. As an aside, this is also why I recommend you don't use AI bots in order to write posts and comment on social media. When you're trying to build your business, it's very tempting to use these tools. They promise a lot, but the quality is not really there. It will also, in the long run, mean a decreasing efficiency in AI because AI will be training on those AI-generated comments. So short term, it seems very attractive to use these kind of bots or AI writing tools to create our content.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think about this more and more and more. I mean, again, with the AI stuff that I saw, I showed you, it had like thousands of shares and stuff. And this all kind of feeds back into what we were talking about earlier, is that like, nothing is real on the internet anymore. It really isn't. And so it's like,
yeah, there's a whole lot going on there. You got the Deadit. That's wild. That
are you gonna go check it out?
That appears to be AI training AI. Because otherwise, what prompted it to ask that question? Like the answer that
maybe it's reading Reddit and it's creating questions.
Right. The AI answer part makes sense because it's responding to what it's been trained to do, and AI, some algorithm has been trained to answer questions on this Reddit. But what has been trained to go make questions? Like making a question from scratch.
How can we sound so much?
Making a question from scratch is a lot harder than answering even a complicated question.
Yeah.
Like making a simple question from nothing.
Yeah.
It takes being inquisitive.
Yeah.
It takes being curious, like legitimately being curious, and that AI is not supposed to be able to be curious yet.
Yeah.
So that's wild. And then, to touch on that, AI is making posts and content that is being propagated by AI bots and AI commenters. But you're seeing it. I'm seeing it. So something's happening in the algorithm. Yeah. If the algorithm deads it all together, then I think if there's too much in there that automatically deads too much of that content or like blocks it, too much of their platform's going to go away. I think they're too intertwined in there. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I don't know how to combat it. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I do think that like a lot of Facebook and stuff is dead. I mean, I think that, people talk about the dead internet theory all the time, but it really is. And I think that's why you see a lot of people kind of like pursuing like Reddit threads and things like that, because they feel like there's at least a human talking to them on the other side. But now
who knows, man?
Because I mean, blogs were the same way. Blogs were like, there's a lot of AI bots and stuff in the blog. So I mean, bots and stuff have kind of like ruined the internet in the aspect of like you don't know what's real anymore at all.
Nope.
I mean, I think if you want to become famous on social media nowadays, if you are smart enough and can figure out a bot situation, if people just feel like you're everywhere, you're all of a sudden a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And so if you have all these bots posting about you and liking and sharing other content about you, that's like a real easy way to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, think about when Andrew Tate got so big.
Oh yeah.
And now I don't hear anything about him anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah. It was all the bots and
Yep.
everything, you know?
Yep. Bots and all his child army of whatever, that Hustlers University.
Yeah. Just posting content.
Yep.
All right. What else we got? Black Ops. Oh, yeah. This is interesting. I feel like I'm providing all these. You get on it, okay?
Hey, man, I put a couple of those up there.
Everybody who worked on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Because somebody who was in that room is a time traveler. And I am sure.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
If I were to tell you 13 years ago a game developer would predict the future, you'd probably call me crazy, right? But stay with me. You see, Black Ops 2 was released in November of 2012. And in every single Call of Duty game, there's a campaign. And in the campaign of Black Ops 2, China and the United States are in a Cold War. But why exactly did China and the United States get into a Cold War? As it says right here, it's because China stopped exporting rare earth elements. Which is something that sounds ridiculously insane, like that would never happen. Only yesterday, that's what China did. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, this is a reach. It's a video game who said sometime in the future this would all happen. But it gets even crazier when you realize when Black Ops 2 was set. Because in this video game, it's not set in 2012. In fact, it is set in the year 2025. As in the year 2025 that we are in. Meaning that 13 years ago, the game development team that was building Black Ops 2 accurately predicted all of this down to the exact year that this is happening.
I think it's, I mean, obviously you have the Simpsons episodes. you
Yeah,
have
chalk
stuff
it
like
up to The
this.
Simpsons.
It is pretty wild that because I mean, that is like hardcore kind of going on.
When
right
you
now.
when you look at the budgets and stuff that these shows or this game or whatever has, the level of consultants they probably had in these things, I mean, these are people in the know. So, yeah, they did land on a kind of a magical correct number, but, like, I bet they laid out, like, the only possible circumstances to get us to go to war with China or the only possible circumstances to get us to whatever The Simpsons is predicting. You know what I mean? And then, so, yeah, it's still a lucky guess, but I think it's a lucky guess out of very educated starting numbers.
Yeah, I also think that they're just like, 13 years from now, no one's going to look back at that. Like, I mean, at this point, like 2012, I mean, we are pretty deep in like internet and things like that, but we're like, I don't know. It's kind of like what you know now. When you look back, you're like, oh yeah, duh. You know, it's like, of course.
Yeah, and enough stuff has come out that enough predictions. I mean, you predict enough stuff, something's going to be right.
Well, that's what I said. Where they said, don't confuse a parrot for a profit or whatever. You know, just like there's just like so much stuff that people talk about, and it's just like, eventually you can be right about something.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, it's just like, also, if they were wrong, no one would have said anything. 'Cause it's just a game.
Yep.
Right. So it's just like kind of throwing a dart at the wall with no repercussions, and then you're like, oh, we ended up getting the bullseye.
Yeah. Look, see what stuck.
Yeah. So, all right. This one's very interesting. So.
I just opened my eyes, and this might be the wildest declassified document I've ever seen. U.S. intelligence obtained a 250-page file about an attack by a UFO on a military unit in Siberia. A low-flying saucer appeared over a Soviet training exercise. They shot it with a missile. It crashed. 5 aliens came out, described as humanoid with large heads and black eyes. After freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens merged themselves into a single object, which was a spherical shape that began to buzz and hiss. It became a bright white light that grew bigger and bigger, then exploded, and at that moment, 23 soldiers turned into stone. And the 2 people that survived were in a shaded area. The KGB report says that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institute near Moscow. Specialists say that the energy source is still unknown, that it must have changed the molecular structure of the humans, which were left no different than limestone. The CIA representative said the KGB file, if it corresponds to reality, is an extremely menacing case, that the aliens possess weapons and technology that go far beyond our assumption. Okay, so let's break this down. A lot of times we see declassified CIA documents circulating the internet. Like this one, where people say the government has confirmed that we live in a hologram, and here's the CIA document to prove it. So we need to clear up what type of things get filed in CIA documents. As far as this hologram thing, which I do believe, but it's actually an excerpt from this book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum. A lot of documents have excerpts from foreign media, books, and public sources. For example, this UFO one we just looked at says FBIS, which is the Foreign Broadcast Information Service, which is basically a branch of intelligence that does newspaper clippings for all foreign media and translates them. These aren't actual intelligence reports. The reason they archive this is to track different national moods, trends, and propaganda that's happening around the world. Sometimes these reports are used as a distraction tactic. It could be a coded message, or could be covering up something real like a weapons test gone wrong. It can also be used as a cross-reference for things that are currently still classified. For example, this whole "we live in a hologram" CIA document, it literally says the source of the information right below it. If you go directly to the source and read the introduction to this book, it says that the book is a result of some interesting living room conversations with friends, and that he doesn't claim that the information is the final truth, but hopes that it will stimulate more speculation by future scientists. Personally, I think he did tap into some universal truths. That's why it's important to observe the whole document, to look for sources, reprints, FBIS. There is some interesting crossover with orbs, and even ancient stories of people being turned into stone, and even whistleblowers saying people have been harmed by these interactions. So, let me know what you think in the comments.
I think that was a really long video.
Yeah. Well, so I just thought it was interesting because, obviously it starts out a way of making you think that there's aliens because you see a CIA classified document, and I think it's like I've seen a lot of people use these CIA documents to try to prove things.
Same.
And this just kind of gives you a better understanding of the fact that like sometimes the CIA document thing is like nothing more than this article was somewhere.
That's why I like the Y files. You ever see the Y files? It's on YouTube. It's great. Check it out. But yeah, it starts out, it gives the whole conspiracy and he does a really good job setting it up. And then he does a really good job tearing it down.
Yeah.
So, but it's not always like, oh, but it's false. It's just like, here's all the conflicting stuff too.
Right.
So like, here's where the holes could be. Here's where the, yada,
Well, that's kind of like her. I mean, she didn't say like this is false. She just said that like this was kind of from like a newspaper article type thing. And it'd be pretty easy to be like a weapons test gone wrong and only 2 people survived, and to be like, they died from aliens.
Yep.
You shot a missile and the aliens killed you. You shot a missile and you accidentally killed.
It's also a pretty simple tactic of any intelligence agency to over-classify documents. That way, when limits of classification come up and they have to declassify things, they're just declassifying all kinds of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's why things where they're like, they released another 80,000 pages of documents regarding JFK or whatever, and it's like, you just give me one sheet. Well, who did it?
Yeah. Well, they did that because it's so time consuming to comb them all. However, they didn't know about AI.
AI, baby.
And soon you'll be able to put all 80,000 into a document and say, summarize or where's this information in this document. That's the crazy thing. There's going to be something that exists in the future that we couldn't even comprehend, that a lot of people are acting a certain way or doing things a certain way because they don't feel like they're ever going to get caught or in trouble because they can comprehend something being able to like catch this thing. Oh yeah, man. Lie detector tests are coming with AI backing that are going to be foolproof. Right. I mean, scan your brain. Yeah. Did you do it or not? Right. Yeah. It's wild. Those people monitor so many more things. Oh yeah. So I've actually, someone I was talking to believes that the mark of the beast is all going to be like AI related because like there's no way to possibly like monitor that amount of information unless AI was involved. Yeah, it's going to be Apple Watch type situation. It's going to be a wearable. You're going to need it to pay for everything. You're going to need it to access everything. You're going to need it to prove who you are. You're going to need it to travel. You're going to need. It's going to be your real ID. It's going to be your. But I don't think it's going to be in wearable. Like I don't think it's going to be like something you can even take off. It will eventually get to that, but I think it'll be a wearable first. Right. If you go into like your Apple Health settings, the amount of stuff that's able to have data inputs with no way to put a data input in there. Right. You can't even manually enter in a lot of the stuff that's in there now. Yeah. Well, and you think about like even your IDs and stuff, they're digital now. I don't know if you've seen it too, where like now you can go up to the airport and it like takes a photo of you. It's like that. We are moving towards that whole digitization of all things, you know. And you've already talked about the social credit score, man. Whatever, China, so yeah, big deal there. It's going to be here too. Folks, especially areas where we cram mass transit, but specifically mass public transit. I mean, they're not going to allow certain people to ride at certain areas if they are a problem person. Your stores are going to turn you away. If you're a problem shopper, you're not going to be able to come in. And right now it's difficult because you put a person there as the like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't come in.
and they have to deal with whatever that exchange is. But if there's just like doors that just won't open, when we remove that barrier and somebody's just like, I'm sorry, beep, beep, you can't, the machine won't let you.
Yeah.
Then it just gets easier and easier for people to do. I mean, even think about airline travel, how terrible it is. And now they're just like, I can't help you, call this number.
Yeah.
And like they can't do anything. So they don't feel any,
Yeah, they don't feel any type of way because there's nothing they can actually do to help
they're like,
you.
move, sir.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You have to call this number when it's completely unreasonable. And years ago, put them in your shoes, but it's coming, man.
Yeah.
That technology's coming.
Well, you've been to Sam's Club recently, I'm sure.
Yep.
And so
it's wild.
So I do the scan and go now.
We do too.
Which I don't know. First off,
I don't know how.
I don't know why does no one else do it?
I don't.
Though?
Kirsty and I do it. It's the best.
Well, we go on Sunday sometimes, and it is insane that like every single line is backed up.
And we walk
with, like,
right
tons
out.
of people, and we just walk straight out, and I'm just like, what?
Well,
Like,
so it used to be they would like scan your thing and then maybe scan your stuff in, but like lately, and I mean, we're shopping family of 5, full deal, weekly, full basket. We're like walking towards, and they're like, yeah, you're good.
yeah. So for
They don't
those
even
that,
scan the phone thing.
And for those that don't know, once you do your scan and go, so you scan everything, it'll like say, make sure that you have 13 items in your cart or whatever, and you'll hit accept, and then you choose your credit card, and you hit pay, and a QR code pops up on your phone, which I don't know, I've always left that QR code up on my
Same.
phone,
Yep.
and I walk through, and it'll scan, and then some person would still scan some items, but now they're just like, yeah, you're good.
Yep.
And they point directly to you. I know it must say something because one time I was coming out at the same time as another woman, and she was like trying to figure out which one of us was
Right.
good. She was like, you're good. Okay, now you're good or whatever.
Right.
And,
I don't know how it works, but it's really cool.
Well, I mean, I think you had originally told me about, and then I saw it at the airport where you put all your items on there on this like little thing, and it like told you how much you owed.
Yep. You just scan it.
Put all the items up there, and you just like, so like essentially you check out without having to deal with anybody.
Yep.
And then I think Amazon was doing something with Whole Foods, right, where you could just like walk out and it would just charge you.
Yeah, but they were using like people to watch you.
Yeah, they were.
It was supposed to be AI, but they were using.
But either way, it's the whole idea of just like. So I mean, that all kind of falls in line with this whole system, this ecosystem we're talking about, where you're just going to carry this one thing. And, part of me is like, well, I will like the idea that no one can steal my identity because it's going to be attached to like something. But also on the other side, it's like biblically the mark of the beast and stuff like that. Like, don't like that. You know how I feel about people opening credit cards. It's like so easy to do. Like when you remove barriers to make things more convenient, you lose the security. So it's like, if you don't got to come in to create a credit card, now all you need is Bradley's social security number and maybe something else,
Yep. So safety, security, all that.
But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. I think over the next 20 years. I mean, I think back about what's changed. My 20-year high school reunion's coming up in a few months, and like what's changed since I graduated school. It's just like the first iPhone came out, the iPod, the original iPod came out like around that time, because I remember my friend got one for getting into Duke, and it was a big deal, and he had just gotten one, so I bought his old one off of him because they're so hard to get. And just like crazy to think where we were 20 years ago and like how much further we'll be. I mean, 20 years ago, there wasn't Tesla, right?
Nope.
There was no electric cars.
Nope.
There was, AOL was the internet. I feel like
20 years ago, we probably had like the first, crossovers or like hybrid, not crossovers, hybrid electric.
Right.
gas
But they
cars.
didn't like, you didn't charge those. They charged like,
they charged themselves.
And then
via the motor.
Yeah, and then Macs were like literally. I remember like because I thought about getting a Mac, and like they would say like RAM a lot or something.
Yeah.
Like, they give you no specs on their computers, and they were the big bubbly blue and orange ones that were in the computer lab. And just so much has changed in these last 20 years. It's interesting to think about like what the next 20 years is going to look like.
I can't imagine. I mean, I really can't.
Just because everything's exponential.
Exponential.
Like you look at how much AI has changed our entire population in the last couple years that's been out.
Oh yeah, 3 years that it's been like publicly available.
Right, and now people are literally building entire companies on it. People are replacing people. So yeah, it'll be crazy. We've talked about how robotics prices have gone down astronomically.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really crazy to think about like where we'll be I think AI can be used for a lot of really great things. I think it could probably speed up a lot of research and stuff like that. But I feel like that's never the realm that people take it in. They're like, how do we figure out how to make the most money for it and just kind of let it run?
Yeah, man, that's the balance, in a capitalistic society. That's what we're, the balancing act of, can you do good and make money and keep your company alive and grow it and battle all the competitors and all that stuff and still do good, though, you know? So we'll see.
Well, one thing's for certain. We won't know or have any idea what 20 years from now will look like, so there's no point in even guessing.
Not yet.
Maybe we'll figure out how the pyramids will build,
Yep.
So, but as always, thank you for watching. You're worth it. Do hard shit.
See ya.